What is Lendify or was?
Lendify started as a peer-to-peer lending platform. I was super hot at the moment, or back then in 2014. I knew nothing about it. Thought it was super interesting just to be in a startup. To me, I mean, not having to be in the office until 3 a.m. in the morning and being back there at 8 was just fantastic.
So when did you start thinking about, I guess after you exited Lendify, when did you start thinking about Alrik and how did the idea come about?
I really needed a rest. So I wanted a few months off to lick my wounds and to rest, basically, and to do research. So I decided very early on to kind of try to meet a few people every day for, a few months. And nobody, I didn't want to meet anybody in the financial sector. I wanted to meet everybody outside of the financial sector to get new perspectives.
Any harsh or lessons that you can share with the community?
I like stability in the team. And I think if you want to have that, you need to be honest and not react too radically to positive and negative news, and to really make sure to listen to everybody that has something to say, and to then balance that and cook that all together, condense that all together into some sort of common decision, or a decision that it has everybody on board.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Groundbreakers, where we reveal the stories behind the most successful founders and operators in AEC technology, from exits in the multiple hundreds of millions through to the struggles of building in a resilient industry. We've got you covered. Before we get started though, if you're a startup founder or operator responsible for innovation in your company, or you want a deeper, more insightful look into technology in AEC, you won't want to miss our newsletter. From deep dives into particular technologies such as AI, robotics, design, software, and so on. Hot takes from investors betting big in AEC technology, and advice on building tech companies, including the stories and takeaways of the most successful AEC technology founders. Head over to www.bricks-bytes.com and sign up today to get this exclusive material straight to your inbox. And now for the episode. Okay, good afternoon, Nici. Thank you. You're in Sweden, as far as I understand. It's the same time as UK, 1:43?
No. 1 hour ahead.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
It's almost Friday afternoon.
Thank you for joining us today. And I'm glad that you brought your hot toddy with you. At least that's what we thought it was when you first pulled the glass up. It's actually apple juice for the benefit of our listeners.
Don't think it's whiskey, it's apple juice. And I'm going to have a few of those because I need it for my throat.
Nice. All right, Nici. Well, look, I will not try and butcher any introduction. All I know is you have a very interesting background and enjoyed some previous success before starting your current company, Awork. So, yeah, go for it. Blow us away.
What do you mean? Should I just tell you my life story?
I think start from perhaps Lendify and how, remember when we caught up, you started from, you were there and then got put into the CEO position and the exit there and then starting off Awork.
Yeah. I mean, I can actually start from the end of Morgan Stanley time. I was at Morgan Stanley for 4 years. I think it's a super interesting environment to be in. For me, I was there to kind of get the toolkit, like how to write good emails, how to collect a lot of data and then put it out in a format that people can understand in 30 seconds, be presentable and all that kind of stuff. So sort of a school in being a professional. You can be a professional banker, whatever, it doesn't matter. So for me, it was just that. I probably would have done a couple more years. I was junior when I was there, so I never really did the deals and stuff like that. I was just, machine basically. But in the end, I just felt like I'm a free soul and I need to kind of make my own decisions on time and what to focus on. And I also like people. And at Morgan Stanley, I was mostly in my cubicle or in bed. So I stepped out one day and then by coincidence, I met a friend who is also a startup founder, or was at the time. I wasn't, and he said, "What are you going to do now?" I said, "I have not a clue in the world. I just wanted to get out of that cubicle." But I like building stuff, so perhaps like going into startup. And he said, "I have a friend. He started a company called Lendify 2 weeks ago. Do you want to meet him?" I was like, "Sure, absolutely." Met the guy same afternoon. Started working there as the first employee. 2 weeks later, I thought I was going to have like a 3-month break. That did not happen. So I had 2 weeks, and then we got going.
I'm curious. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No, go.
I'm curious. What did you want to get? Why did you want to get out from Morgan Stanley, from this cubicle?
I would say it was more. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to build something that felt like I'm doing this for me and my future, and I, make my own decisions. In there, I was more of a machine. I have a lot of respect for the people there because they're so good at their jobs. But it was just not for me. I'm too kind of have maybe a little bit too much integrity, basically. So that's kind of why it wasn't a good fit in the long run. But the 4 years I was there, perfect. I had the toolkit. Now I could go out and use it.
Uh-huh. What is Lendify? Or was?
Lendify started as a peer-to-peer lending platform. I was super hot at the moment, or back then in 2014. I knew nothing about it. Thought it was super interesting just to be in a startup. To me, I mean, not having to be in the office until 3 a.m. in the morning and being back there at 8 was just fantastic. I had a suit and a tie for the first 2 days at Lendify, and then I went. The founder was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You don't need that."
That's so funny.
You don't need.
I was like, "Why?" I was like, "I don't know. I shouldn't tie." No. Then I dropped the tie. Then I dropped the shoes. Then I dropped, the other day I dropped the jacket. And after 2 weeks, I was there in just sneakers and soft pants and t-shirt, and it was like super liberating.
The question is, have you gone full Jack Dorsey? I think it's Jack Dorsey that's barefoot, right?
Yeah, I'm actually barefoot right now.
Michael Berry. Michael Berry as well.
Yeah, someone, and don't they walk to work for like 2 miles? I don't know, some crazy distance a day in bare feet.
I'm pretty far from that level in many senses. But my mom, she thinks I dress like shit, and she's like, "I mean, I'm so proud of you, man. It's really cool coming to your office and seeing you in action." But like, what are you wearing? Like, now I actually have my only nice shirt on me just because I'm on this podcast. But anyway,
nice.
and we confirm it's very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy. So then I was at Lendify for 7 years. And I just got kind of caught up in being so engaged with building a team, building a product, getting customers, getting investors, getting the licenses. And it was like, you just get tangled up. It sounds negative, but it's not. It's just you get so caught up in it, and it's so funny. We actually grew all the time. And after 3 years, for the first 3 years, I was like, I don't know, my title was, chief investment officer or chief operating officer. Who cares? Like, I do everything from buying a cord to the computer to meeting the FSA or to the investors or whatever. So, but then after 3 years, the CEO actually asked me, like, "Man, you're doing recruiting, you're building the team, you're in product meetings, you're in tech meetings. Why don't you become the CEO?" And I said, "Fine, cool." And at the time, we were actually getting pretty big. I mean, all in, we raised almost $1 billion in equity. Oh, sorry, that's the Swedish. 100 million in equity.
Nice.
And we raised 600 million euros in debt capital, like to lend out. It was a proper lending business. So it became pretty serious in the sense that we had institutional investors from the US. We had, licenses from the FSA, etc. And he was more of a very entrepreneurial entrepreneur. And I was more like, I actually had I like order and I like rules and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it was a very fit.
Sorry, Owen, you will like it. Lendify has raised 495 million over 17 rounds. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, if you include both equity and debt, that's probably correct. So but I always had a huge itch, and it annoyed me a lot that I wasn't the founder because it felt like my baby. I felt like I had a lot of exposure. I felt like I had a lot of risk and responsibility, and I worked really hard. But I only had a very, very small fraction of the company, like in equity, whereas the founder had a lot more. And therefore, I didn't have the upside, but I think even more importantly, I wasn't in the super interesting discussions with other owners and potential owners that I would have liked to be in. And I felt like a little bit squeezed between the organization and the owners. And I didn't really have a real say in that sense. And I didn't really feel that I could steer the way I wanted to, culture-wise, strategy-wise, etc. So I really had this itch to be a founder for real, not only build the company.
Nici, what was the kind of lessons that you learned as a CEO at Lendify? Because and also, I think it's important to note that you also drove the company to a place where it was then acquired. But was it Luna?
Yes.
Luna. Yeah, any harsh or lessons that you can share with the community?
I don't know. I like stability in the team. And I think if you want to have that, you need to be honest and not react too radically to positive and negative news, and to really make sure to listen to everybody that has something to say, and to then balance that and cook that all together, condense that all together into some sort of common decision, or a decision that it has everybody on board. And then once you can have tough discussions, and you can disagree and you can argue and so on, but once you're done with the discussion, nobody can come and say, okay, you were wrong. What did I tell you? Like stuff like that. So then everybody has to be on board. We worked a lot with that. So I think that is a cultural thing, but it's also a decision process thing. So I think that was cool. But then it's also a bit lonely at the top. Yeah, especially when you're not an owner, you're not included in those things. But I think for me, it's just being open, transparent, and really nice and inclusive to people. Not weak, but nice. Is important.
Nici, what can you share some of the metrics at the time? Is it disclosed the amount? Yeah, at Lendify, yeah. Like, was it disclosed how much the exit was for, and like what kind of revenue was being produced?
Yeah,
how many employees?
The exit was to at the valuation of 130 million euros, and then we were doing. When you're a lending business, it's always hard to say MRR stuff or ARR stuff. It's not the same thing. But gross revenue, I think we were at 30 or 40 million euros, something like that.
How big was the team company?
70.
Okay, yeah, decent.
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you start thinking about, I guess after you exited Lendify, when did you start thinking about Alrik, and how did the idea come about?
I really needed a rest, so I wanted a few months off to lick my wounds and to rest basically, and to do research. So I decided very early on to kind of try to meet a few people every day for a few months. And nobody, I didn't want to meet anybody in the financial sector. I wanted to meet everybody outside of the financial sector to get new perspectives. And I would meet anybody from, a bartender to a CEO at a big tech company, just to get new influences and new stimulants. But just after 2 months, a few of the investors from the Lendify time contacted me, said they had a business idea for a new company, and they wanted me to be the founder. They knew that I wanted to be a founder. So they said, can you be the founder of this company? We have already been operators, they said. We've done our exit. We now have money. We don't want to be operators. but we want you to do the company and we want to back you. That is like the dream scenario to get that question from, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't have an occupation at the moment, you don't have a project, that is like the best thing that could happen. But instead of just saying, yes, let's do it. And this was a company in the climate tech space, hence getting to the construction thing. I said, I need to understand the space. I need to do research for a couple of months. We agreed on that. They funded that research with everything I needed to do to understand the market and the business model. Just shortly on what it was they wanted to do was they were inspired by GameStop. The shorters pushing up the price. And they wanted to do the same thing or create a platform for the same type of phenomenon, but in the emission rights in the regulatory space in Europe. So in Europe, if you want to emit gases in a CO2 or a CO2 equivalent, you need to have rights, and you are allocated those rights. And if you need more rights, you have to buy them. So there's sort of a B2B market for that. And they wanted me to create a platform where consumers could also access this trading. So it was a trading platform for emission rights in the regulatory system in Europe, and the demand side where consumers would come in would be crypto based. And that's where it kind of got a bit too spicy for me. So having been in a regulatory environment for 7 years, I directly spoke to our advisors that we had at Lendify. How would you look at this? And long story short, the crypto thing would not work in that space because you would need to have a license in each country that you operate or offer this to consumers. So then the crypto kind of falls because that's supposed to be a global thing directly. So I said no to the project after 2 months. And there I stood, having said no to 3 investors that I really respected and wanted to do something with. Hard. But I said, guys, sorry, I won't do this. I think it's just too tricky. But in the process of looking into climate tech, I learned a lot about construction. Construction pops up everywhere because it's such a big emitter.
And that was how Awork was born, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Sort of.
Yeah. Okay. So should we dive into Alrik then? So, Nici, are you the sole founder?
No, we're 2 founders. So right after I said no to that climate tech project, I, by coincidence, met Axel Enblad, who is the co-founder, together with me. So we are equal partners. We went in 50-50 together. The reason I met him was that I sort of knew his father, and we met in the gym. His father is already done and dusted, like he's already successful. He has the right to be in a gym Tuesday at 10 o'clock in a fancy suburb of Stockholm. I didn't, but I was there. So he was like, dude,
hey man, that's a lesson, right? That's a good lesson for people. Go and hang out at gyms at 10 o'clock and you might meet someone that gives you a business opportunity. Yeah.
Like he was like flabbergasted, like, dude, what are you doing here? Like, shouldn't you be like at work or something? Because to him, I'm a kid. I'm 39, turning 40 in a month. So, but to him, I'm a kid. He's like, dude, you should be working. I said, yeah, but I don't have a job right now. He's like, okay, but my son is also a bum at the moment, so maybe you should talk to him. So Axel is his son. We've met a couple of times before, but didn't know each other. He's 10 years younger than I am.
Hey listeners, I want to take a quick break to remind you about the Bricks Bytes newsletter. If you're interested in learning about the technology shaping the future of construction, you won't want to miss the valuable insights we share each week. To get this exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox, head over to www.bricks-bytes.com and sign up today. Link is in the show notes. Back to the show.
he has a similar background to me, having been at the bank, but then also at a FinTech startup. At the FinTech startup, he was the CEO, but not the founder, blah, blah, blah. But he shorter times at the bank and shorter time at the FinTech and at slightly smaller scale. But he's extremely good at doing a lot with scarce resources, with the little, basically. Whereas I have, raised a lot of capital, have, 3-year, 5-year plans, institutional investors. So very different in that sense. And so we really complemented each other. And after the first meeting with him, I was, he will see this, but I was so tired. I was like, this guy is way too intense for me. I was like, steady train, and he is extremely intense in a very positive way, very good energy. So we kind of hit it off, and just on the basis of meeting each other and having done the desktop research on the construction industry, all these things extremely big but fragmented in terms of people, fragmented in terms of information, tricky. We said, we want to do something, let's do it. And we could fund it for like a few months or maybe up to a year ourselves. So, but we just shook hands and said, let's go.
Okay. So what is Alrik?
Yeah, keep it simple for us, and then we'll drill in.
Yeah. Let me bring up my one-liner here. I have to cheat a little bit, guys, because this is the type of thing that you feel like you should really be able to answer this like in your sleep, but you can't. It changes every fucking morning. It's so hard.
Yeah,
because it depends on like what time frame you have, who you're talking to. So
I'm honestly blown away by the power and combination of certain words. I think it's like an absolute art if you can get this get it well.
Yeah, I don't think I'm there yet, but this is the best I have right now. So don't shoot me. Alrik is a logistics platform for construction material distributors. They use Alrik to handle all their shipments from their stores and warehouses to construction sites. That's what I have. It sounds extremely boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best I can kind of give you right now on describing the product as it is today, very early days.
I think it's fine. I think it's a good explanation. So as far as what you said, I like to repeat this back to people. So you have a material distributor company that are these like companies that store materials within their warehouse, like Travis Perkins in the UK, for example?
Yeah, the word distributor is extremely. It's essential. It's an important word, and it's important to make a distinction between distributor and supplier.
Because what's the difference?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so like if you're a contractor and you're going to build 300 apartments, you're probably going to need, say, 20 to 30,000 different SKUs, like products, product types. To source those, if you would talk directly to the suppliers, you would have to talk to thousands of suppliers and have deals and agreements with thousands of suppliers. Therefore, in between the supplier and the contractor, you have distributors. And if you are doing that type of project, instead of talking to 1,000 suppliers, you can maybe talk to 3 distributors.
And they take care of the whole inventory.
The procurement. Yeah. So they basically say, okay, here's the drawing. What materials do I need? And what portion of that can I buy from you? So they are an aggregator of all the supplies. So that's why we call them the junction points of the industry.
Okay. So you are the you are not the supplier. You are the other one?
Distributor.
No, we're not the distributor. No. Our customers are the distributors. So whenever, say that they had sourced materials from these thousands of suppliers, they store the materials in a short period of time in their warehouses or distribution hubs or stores. Then they distribute them. They do the last mile of transport of the materials to the construction sites. So that's where Awork comes in. We help them digitize the whole last mile. They have their own trucks sometimes. Sometimes they don't have their own trucks, and then they need extra capacity, like more trucks than they have. However, they want to transport it with their own fleet or somebody else's fleet. They use Alrik to manage that, to plan those trucks, and to secure extra capacity.
Now I can see it.
Yes, great explanation. So, why is this a problem that technology needs to solve? I'm guessing somehow that the process of distributor to customer is fucked, and Awork comes in and makes it better.
Yeah. So the reason why we focus on the distributors is, one, they are the junction points of the industry. They have a lot of responsibility in the sense that they're aggregating supply, but also that they are sort of a procurement division for the contractors that kind of hand them the drawings for their project and say, what do I need? That wasn't, they want to sell materials. They don't want to be procurement agents, but they are. Anyhow, so imagine now the distributors, they have a lot of places or stores that we call them that need to be fairly scattered geographically because they need to be close to all the different construction projects. At each one of those stores, they typically have, say, 3, 4, 5 trucks that they own or contract on a long-term basis. At least they control them, and they use them every day to make shipments to the construction sites. The immediate problem that we saw was the fact that they are planning those trucks on a whiteboard. Okay, so that might not sound so crazy, but the problem is that for every truck below the whiteboard, they have piles of paper, which are the physical delivery notes. And the drivers of the trucks, they have to come into that room, pick up that pile of delivery notes. And it might be, 7 orders that you are going to deliver throughout the day. You go into the warehouse, you fill up your truck, and then off you go. So far, maybe not catastrophe, but the chaos starts happening like 7:15 every morning when the truckers have left the warehouse. Then the contractors start calling the logistics planners. Hey man, where's my stuff? I don't know. I have to call driver number 4. And we learned this because we sat down with these people in the room for many hours, gave them coffee, cinnamon buns, and we did this in 30, 40 different locations for 2 full months. Every single time it was the same thing. Okay, where's my stuff? I don't know. I have to call the driver. They try to call the driver doesn't pick up, which means that they get rerouted to the carrier or transportation companies leading the central, where they kind of try to coordinate everything. They get to some lady and they say, okay, where is my driver number 4? Your driver number 605. I don't know. There's no transparency. All the information is siloed in phone calls. They get, after a while, hold of the driver. The driver says, yeah, I am having lunch right now. I don't know when I will be there. Probably sometime in the afternoon. But at the construction site, you have a crew of 8 people standing idle, costing 100 euros per hour each. And they can't start work until they have that batch of stuff. So, yeah, that's where the real problem starts. So you have an operational problem at the distribution store level. You have a stress factor and lack of coordination on the roads. Stress factor for the drivers because they get phone called every time and feel monitored, big brother. And then at the construction site, you have the biggest problem where you are not able to plan your work because you have no information on the whereabouts of your materials that are essential for you to do your work.
How do you assess the size of the market, and have you penetrated through like the whole of it, or there are some areas that you're still thinking of tackling?
I think I need to kind of touch on the business model to answer this question, or to make the answer better. If that makes sense.
Sure.
Yes.
I think that maybe we should. I feel like you described the problem very well, but we didn't quite get to the solution. So, Martin, I blame you for that.
Yeah, blame me. That's fine.
Martin gets the blame.
No, so solution is very, very simple. It's 3 things. Think about 3 different stakeholders. Stakeholder 1 is the distributor, the people in the distribution store or in the warehouse. Number 2 is the driver of the truck. Number 3 is the construction site or the contractor. The solution for the first stakeholder, the distribution person, the logistics planner or whatever it might be, is that they can now handle or do the planning of their trucks in a digital environment. And they can also secure extra capacity for more trucks if they need in one place. There's a lot more to that, but let's keep it simple.
Yeah, I would just say Awork would help them optimize, right? So perhaps you said like the driver would come and pick 7 pieces of paper. Now he can pick up 10, for example.
He doesn't have to pick up any papers. That's number 2. So number 2 is the driver. They have Alrik's up. They don't have to pick up the physical delivery notes because they get their jobs directly in the app. So they just open up the app in the morning and say, okay, what am I going to do today? Okay, I have this route. It will take me 6.5 hours. Click here to start my first job. Okay. So for them, it's a lot more at ease, no stress. I know my route. And if something needs to be updated in the route, I won't even notice it because my next route will just be something else. But I don't have to receive 13 calls and then, mess about with my papers and go back to change papers and stuff. I will just, automatically have a new route. And at the construction site, the contractor will have notifications digitally and real-time information about the whereabouts of my stuff. Is it arriving in 4 minutes? Can I go on a lunch break? Should I go home and come back in the morning? Should I go to the gate and prepare to help with offloading? All that kinds of stuff. So that's the solution.
So I was going to ask a question. So we have 3 stakeholders: distribution center, the driver, and the site. Is that correct?
Yep.
So I guess it's not simple to get these 3 stakeholders to install the app. How do you do it? Can you tell us about some pain points when trying to convince? Who are you convincing? Are you convincing distribution center, and then they say that we have the process using Alrik, etc.?
So it's not hard because the distribution centers, they use the software, the desktop software, to do the planning. They tell their drivers that are contracted by them to download the app. sometimes we help them, but it's not tricky. And the construction workers or contractors, they get SMS notifications. We have not even tried or starting to try to
give
get
them an
them
app
to download the app. I don't think we should go into this because it takes too much time, but every distribution store sells. Now I am anyway, but this is quite important. The reason why we focus on distributors to make the industry better and not the construction companies is because at the big construction project you would have 80 construction companies in that project, and just selling software to one of those is tricky.
Yeah.
It's just no, it will not work, and I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of software startups trying to sell directly to construction companies have difficulties. And this is sort of the secret sauce, so to say, because everybody relies on more or less the same distributors, hence the scalable distribution. So
very good.
They only they get text message notifications for now.
I like it. It's simple for them, which they are the customer really, of the distribution center and the driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I'll move on to a little bit of like the geography, perhaps, of where you guys are currently operating, Nici. So, as far as I'm aware, you are based in Sweden.
Yep.
And when we last spoke, you mentioned that you were currently in a process of expanding to the UK. So, just give us a little bit of a overview of that.
Yeah. So, we the first enterprise deal, meaning like a chain of stores, was in Sweden. Not surprisingly, that was 50 stores across Sweden, and that logo or company is only operating in Sweden. The second one that we have signed is now for Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland, and that's probably what you would call the Nordics. And then we signed the first deal in the UK like 2 weeks ago, and that's
nice.
Like in Sweden, we're talking to typically chains of the distribution chains that are present in, say, 5 to 10 countries. So it's typically Nordics, and then you would have like Benelux, you would have Poland quite often, and sometimes also UK and Austria, something like that. But the customers that we have are typically like multinational, and they have several hundred stores or distribution points or whatever you want to call them. In the UK now, go bottom up, guerrilla style. We have now found a single store company in the northern London that sells that specializes in panels. Super tech savvy young entrepreneur in the building material space. He seems to be doing really well, early adopter. So I guess it's quite natural that we got him as our first customer. But so we haven't gotten far, but at least that's a very important first step, that you have a user and a paying customer in the UK. But obviously going for the larger contracts further down the line.
Is the plan to stay within sort of Europe or just UK and Nordics?
I think to do it properly, we need more capital to do it outside of the Nordics to get better penetration in the UK. But before trying to get more capital, we want to show that we can also do it in the UK. Because it's the first non-Nordic market. It's way bigger than the whole Nordics together. And we think it's a very important proof point. So we probably won't go beyond Nordics and the UK before the next round because of focus, right? But after next round, or kind of included in the next round plan, would definitely be going to 5 to 10 maybe even 15 European countries. But the thing is that we know too little about the markets outside of Europe, but there's no technical hurdle really of not going beyond.
So I was going to ask actually about this. What are the challenges when moving from one market to another, or trying to acquire another market, from your point of view, and Alrik's?
We know quite little about that, because the first agreement we have with, or kind of deal we have done with a client is a Swede. They happen to be in 3 other Nordic countries. So in that sense, it was quite easy, because then they say, we are centralized. We have centralized logistics. We have centralized warehousing. We are able to push the software that we have acquired and Alrik on all our stores. So it's a fairly sophisticated organization. So we haven't really been pressured or kind of tried in that sense. That's why it's so important to show that we can also succeed in a more with more kind of with clients that are not as centralized and sophisticated. Quite often in this space, you will have big chains of building material distributors or companies renting out machinery and equipment, because that's also our ICP, where there's a lot of autonomy at each store. So they sort of have the brand of the international company, but they operate as a family business. And the international brand is very much just a procurement organization that basically help them fill up the warehouses with materials that are commonly or together bought in at better prices. So it's a quite different dynamic from customer to customer, where you have people that are super centralized, whereas on the other spectrum we have customers that are very much less centralized and also a lot of autonomy at the store level. So, but we want this to be able to work for all those.
Okay. So from the expansion point of view, you mentioned that to go further abroad, you would need more capital. Where is the cost lying for acquisition of different markets?
Yeah, this is also, I mean, for now, the cost in Alrik is people. On top of that is very little, because we want to be a lot more sure about customer acquisition costs and process and people and so on. We're not there yet. We have product market fit in the Nordics. We have people and a lot of users. We have 350 branches of stores across the Nordics. Basically, I would say 10% of all building material stores in the Nordics use Alrik for all their logistic needs. And in the beginning of this year, it was like 2%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very good.
So we had 50 stores in the beginning of this year, and now we have 350. And that's roughly 10% coverage of the market. So we have product market fit here. But this we have done and achieved with our own hands. It's me, Axel, and a very few other people doing this. We're a team of 10 people. 6 are software developers, and 4 are sales, including me and the other co-founder, who is also the product manager. So we don't have the recipe for, if we hire 10 sales people, we will get this reward yet. So I actually can't answer that question. But we have found a problem, we have created a solution, and we have got a lot of users to use it, and also quite a few paying customers.
Yeah. Nice.
Where we are right now. So now next step is trying to understand those type of dynamics.
Nici, what's the monetization then? Who pays? Who is responsible?
The distributor. So the business model is, right now we have 2 revenue streams. One is SaaS and one is marketplace take rate.
Say that again. Market. So what's SaaS?
SaaS, software as a service.
Okay, yeah, fine. And the other one was
marketplace.
Okay, got you.
So think about it like this. Like, tell me if I'm talking too much. At each store, they have say they have 5 trucks. And instead of using the whiteboard, they use Alrik to plan those trucks. That's the fleet management part of the product. That's SaaS. We get paid €1 amount per month for every truck that they register and they plan with our tool.
Say it again. How much? €1 per?
No. A SaaS amount. It's roughly okay. Now I'm going to prove that I'm an open book. It's roughly 150, roughly €150 per truck per month.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that every store, they have their own fleet, but that fleet only helps with roughly 80% of the deliveries. The other 20%, they need to kind of source in the market on a daily basis. Reason could be peak demand. One of the drivers are sick, happens a lot. There's a flat tire on one of the trucks. In the Nordics, you have, frozen crane, whatever. It's not operating. They need extra capacity. And now with Alrik, they just choose another tab in the Alrik product to get to the marketplace. They tell us if they want to do one shipment or they need a truck for the day or for, several weeks or whatever. And we source that capacity for them.
For you.
And that replaces them. What they need to do before Alrik is like start calling different transport companies. Okay, do you have this and this type of truck? Can you pick up my stuff now? Can I hire you for a week? And there's no prompting. There's no prompting on the screen. This capacity is available. They have that in Alrik. So this is important because we want to cover 100% of our customers' delivery needs, not just their own fleet or not just the spot market needs that they have.
Is it difficult to show them ROI on this €150 investment a month?
Nope. Because so if a store has 5 trucks before they start using Alrik, and then they start using Alrik after 2 months with very simple optimization or just transparency on information, they need 4 trucks. So we reduce the need for them by 20% in 2 months. That 20%, one truck, is a cost for them otherwise of €15,000 on a monthly basis. So one truck, including truck driver, fuel, insurance stuff, is €15,000.
Very good.
Okay. So then, can you pay us 1,500? Yep. Or 150, sorry. Yep. So I think it's very low priced at the moment, but obviously, the more data we have, then we can just show to the customers, the easier it gets.
Yeah, to me, it seems like a complete no-brainer. Have Awork if you have a distributor.
A lot of stuff is a no-brainer on paper. Then you have to make it happen.
True. Nici, what would you say are some of the challenges, perhaps? Because, like I just said, it seems like a no-brainer, but obviously, building a staff is fucking hard. So, where do you foresee the difficulty?
Oh, I hate this question.
This is one of the ones where you need like a rehearsed answer to.
Yeah. I'm not that type of guy. I don't have that. I mean, I think it's too slow sometimes. And you have to meet people at different positions in the company because the user of your product needs to hear that my workday gets easier and I can go home earlier. And I get fewer phone calls in the evening and I don't have to be disturbed on Saturdays when I'm at my daughter's soccer practice. So basically making my life just nicer. but you also need to talk to the decision makers in perhaps the leadership, like in the management team, and you have to talk to them about reducing fleet costs, reducing or improving operational efficiency, which could mean free up more time for the salespeople or reduce staff, enhance your product offering, like to C-level. It's important that for a distributor, for like a serious international building material distributor chain, it's important for them because they typically supply to the biggest projects and the best construction companies. The face of them is important. So the fact that their workers at the construction projects get the unified experience on when the deliveries are going to be made. On when I ask about the order history, I can get that information very simply. The track and trace is a unified experience, etc., etc. So what we communicate about the product is completely different depending on who we talk to, but we need to talk to everybody more or less across the spectrum to make it happen. The distributors are fairly big organizations. I mean, take Stark Group, for example. They are in 10 countries. They are 20,000 people. Most of them out in the stores, roughly half. But we need to talk to people across the whole spectrum. So that's quite a tedious process. So I would say the pace is a challenge for us.
Okay. Oh, and have you got anything else on this subject? As I wanted to move to competition.
We'll crack on.
Okay, Nici. So how do you view potential risks from competition, if there is any, in this space?
We have competition from ERPs that we often integrate to, or in 95% of the cases integrate to. They sometimes have or want to develop their own logistics modules.
So you're talking about larger clients, right? In this case, or not necessarily?
Not necessarily, but yeah, typically larger, but mostly almost everybody. Because almost all of our customers today, out of the 350 branches, most of them are connected to some sort of bigger international chain. And they have ERPs for accounting and for order handling, etc., etc. So, in order to kind of populate the fleet planning and the Alrik platform, so that it's populated already in the morning when they come in, it improves the UX a lot. So it's important with the integrations. And sometimes those integration partners have their own idea of a logistics system. Sometimes there are TMSs or transport management systems that are competitors. But the most common thing is that our customers just have the whiteboard, and then it's a quite easy sell if we just get them to try our software. In terms of pure competitors, being like take the ERP, take the TMS, put that together, and make it into a really, really, really nice software, then I think you get Alrik. And that's the one part. And if you add to that the marketplace feature, where you can actually access extra capacity so that you can fulfill 100% of your needs, not just handling your own fleet. There is no competition in Europe. There is in the US. It's called Curri, Curri. I don't know them. They don't return our calls or emails. So, but from the outside, actually, they
Why
ping
would you call them?
Of course. I mean, we say, why don't we meet up? And they never, they just decline. But actually, the other day, the CPO or CTO from there said, your product looks like a lot like ours. I was like, okay. So is that? But it can't be a coincidence. I said, it can't be a coincidence that your product looks like ours.
Very good.
Yeah. So, but honestly, it's so sick. It's a lot more innocent than it sounds because our products look so much like, but we haven't looked at them, and they are older than we are, so they could have not. They couldn't have looked at us. Anyhow, from the outside, it looks like they are doing very much what we're doing. But in pure competition, no. From a UX perspective and from a kind of perspective that we have, that we want to be at least pan-European, there is no competition.
Sounds like a good market to tackle, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah. Mine, shall we start a logistics app tackling construction deliveries?
Nope.
I'll let you do it.
You can't do it. Execution is everything. Come do it.
Of course. We said earlier, right? Yeah. Interested to know, Nici, how perhaps your vision has evolved since like day one of the company to where you are now. It's a very open question. You can answer it how you like.
Oh, this is also like so annoying. Also one of those questions that you want to be able to answer. And to me, I really want to complete things in life, be it open the mail, be it finish the dishes, whatever. I like to complete things and move on. And with Alrik, and perhaps with any startup, you're never fucking done. It's just, and even, I can't even, give a good one line that I agree with myself from yesterday on, like on what we do. And on vision, it evolves all the time. But with the product as it is today, what we're trying to do is to get to a point where we own the control point. And we think the control point is at the distributors because they are the junction points of the industry. They are a handful, maybe 50 of them, big ones in Europe. They aggregate many thousands of suppliers, and they serve many hundreds of thousands or even millions of construction projects. They are the true junction points. So we want to get in there with our product, and I want Alrik to be the place where they go about their daily business. That's sort of what we have today. But in a vision perspective, I think we want all flows of materials, machinery, waste, recycling, food, everything that flows to construction projects, between construction projects, because the big construction companies move stuff, equipment, machinery, etc. And from. So all flows to, between, and from construction sites. We want that information to flow via Alrik. We're not even going to start looking at the logistics or flows of materials within the site. But outside the site, we want everything to flow via Alrik. Because we think that's the best productivity lever for the industry.
Grand vision then. So is Alrik going to be acquired or public?
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to build a good business. I want this to live for many hundreds of years, and to do create a shift in the construction industry that needs to happen. And I think a lot has to do with it, with making information available to the right people, the right stakeholders in real time. That is so important.
Very good. Hey, Nici, one last one from me. I would ask, given your experience building in FinTech and now building in the construction industry, are there any parallels or complete differences, maybe some culture shocks that you had?
I mean, FinTech and the financial industry is a lot more mature. It's a lot more sharp elbows. It's a lot more marginalized. Like on the margin, big volume needed, many players, high competition, high regulation for a good reason. the construction industry. Why I also think I'm really good at this is because it's important to be humble. It's important to let other people know that you don't know a lot. Ask a lot of questions, be it stupid or smart, whatever. Those type of things are not as important in the financial industry. That's like 50 years back in time.
More professional industry, I think, right?
Yeah, it's
suit and tie.
On the margin, super competitive. Construction industry feels a lot more people-based, value-based, and it's more important to be humble and curious and nice. Not weak, nice.
Okay, Nici. So if you can tell us where people can find out more about you and Alrik.
My LinkedIn is pretty good proxy, I would say, and Alrik's LinkedIn. I still have a lot better reach than Alrik because I've been around longer. But so my LinkedIn, Alrik's LinkedIn, our website is pretty good, but it's also fairly static because we just focus on customers. We are around a lot more at events, panels, presentations, stuff, building awareness, talking about how important it is that we focus on these things that we're doing. Not necessarily selling ourselves, because I think that comes if people understand the problems that we're trying to solve and why we are needed. Then it sells. It only sells itself. We focus on the big picture and the important topics. I think this is a very good forum for it. I really like the forum where you can actually finish your sentence. It's good. Yeah.
Very good.
Should I be anywhere else? Like, you have any recommendations?
Maybe in a delivery van somewhere.
I am from time to time.
Okay, cool.
Maybe some
proof testing the app. And actually, it's more not so much vans, but it's like really big trucks with a lot of heavy stuff on it.
Sounds scary.
Just imagine this: like, think when you're at home on a Saturday and you feel like having a pizza, and you go on your DoorDash app or whatever you have. What do you have in Poland, Martin?
I guess same like everywhere in Europe, which would
Volt.
be Uber Eats.
Uber
right?
Eats, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you use?
Same.
Same.
Deliveroo.
Yeah, Deliveroo. I would use, like in Sweden, Foodora and Volt. Like when I order a pizza, the customer experience is extremely good. Like the chef is now cooking your food. Oh, okay, great. Now it's on the bike. Now it's arriving in 12 minutes.
Yes.
Now it's on your door. It's like fantastic. And I've now bought a pizza for like 12 euros. But if I'm a construction worker and I bought something for 15,000 euros, the customer experience for that person is non-existent.
I agree.
It's
actually,
not. It's and it's so. It should not be like that. It's just screwed up. Okay, ranting. Sorry. Yeah, I think this has to be fixed.
I have an idea of where you could be. You could like get a little like vehicle wrap sticker and put it on every single van and it says powered by Awork. Download the app.
Okay. Thanks.
Shall I join the go-to-market team?
Yeah, maybe. Why not?
he'll probably charge you 15,000 for this advice.
Yeah.
As cool. I know him. Okay.
Thank you, Nici.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. It was a pleasure.